I'm Lance Powell, Supervising Art Director here at CIG. This is...
Steve Bender, Animation Director, Cloud Imperium.
And we're just going to have a quick little conversation about you.
That's what they tell me.
Yes, yes. What do you do exactly?
You know, every day I come into work and I wonder that exact question. So I direct animation, which means that it's a whole bunch of stuff. So for instance, motion capture, I'll direct motion capture. I was just in England for about 3 weeks, I think it was. And we shot the motion capture for stocked rifle, for heavy armor characters using the Firestorm weapon, for the Vanduul, for persistent universe actions, things within Terra, in the ArcCorp bar. We shot some really cool stuff with aircraft carriers, like the shooters on the aircraft carriers that fire off jets. Once I'm done with that, I come back in, I do the selects. Those go out to the mocap studio. When they come back to us, I then work with the team in implementing those animations. So things like, for instance, one of the actions that we're working on for FPS is we're doing jukes so that we get solid weight shifts between how characters move one direction to the other. Because in your typical first-person shooter, that weight shift is almost instantaneous. And we wanted to sort of slow things down and get more of a realistic feel to the combat. So we're getting those weight shifts with those jukes and those motion changes.
So this is part of what you're doing to up the ante on the animation side.
Absolutely.
For both FPS and PU.
Absolutely.
What other things do you have coming down the pike?
Well, we're working on Arena Commander ship enters and exits. And what we did is we took all of the ships in the game and built them on set. It was kind of hard to get the thrusters working, but eventually, it all kind of worked.
But are they flyable? They're not flyable.
Well, we tried, but there's one crash too many. We actually had 3 different types of enters. So we have a normal enter, like you're just getting into your spaceship. We have a combat enter, which is as if you're scrambling units. And we have emergency enters and exits. So, for instance, you would use this as if you're standing there and all of a sudden you turn around and there's a horde of Vanduul chasing you. It's time to get in the plane.
You didn't know about them beforehand?
No.
Okay.
Or if you're in the plane and the thing's on fire and it's about to explode, it's time to get out.
You didn't know about that beforehand?
No, we didn't know
okay.
that. No.
Okay. So, how can you talk about the performance that you've captured in the past, and how is it different than the stuff that you're doing for CIG?
Yeah. So the things that we've captured in the past have been primarily concerned with in previous games more police/military sort of actions, and they're all human. So for the stuff that we're doing for CIG. We still do have the military angle to this, and we hired some military gentlemen to come in and perform the motion capture for us. But we're also mocapping aliens so that there's a particular look that Chris was looking for, and that we worked together in prevising this on set with an actor. And from there, we came to something that was thought to be really solid for the Vanduul, and then we went and did the motion sets for it. Spaceships, all the stuff in spaceships is new for me. I've done some minor flight control animations and stuff like that before, but just the sheer size of some of these ships and the things that you can do in them is completely a new concept. And then as well in the persistent universe. So in previous projects, one of the things that I always tried to get in is this aspect that these aren't AI. They're enemy characters. They have lives. They have names, right? Before he showed up with his gun, his name might have been Bob. And he had just woken up. Maybe he had an argument with his wife the day before or something. And he put on a uniform. He comes out, says freeze, and you shoot him. right?
Right.
Which is kind of uncool, right?
It's really uncool. It's like the guys who worked on the Death Star when you blow that damn thing up. And you're
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It's
What,
not all
you know?
stormtroopers, there's contractors on there.
So, yeah. So one of the things that I was really interested in getting was real, honest life to the PU. So creating these little scenes and these little vignettes within the persistent universe that we can use on the different planets, that each planet has its own particular feel and flavor to how things go. We also are looking into emotes. So not just your typical sort of MMO emotes where they're very grandiose and very showy. What's more realistic and more honest for Star Citizen, the Star Citizen universe. As well, we took a look at different cultures here on Earth and the different ways that people interact with each other. So in some cultures, if I wave to you and I want you to come over, I'm going to use my whole hand and I'm going to wave like this. And in others,
Did you get this
I may go like this.
You got this one right.
No,
This
we
is
don't
pretty
have
universal.
that one yet.
This is pretty universal. now.
But we have Moby-Glass, so we would be
Oh,
doing
yeah,
this.
Yeah, yeah. Right.
Right? Everybody's going like this. The only problem is that Moby-Glass, it's kind of transparent like this. And I was always wondering, can you see what someone else is looking at from the other side? Because that could be really kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, no porn.
But we had
No porn.
James, what did you think we were going to get with
That's
these?
right, right?
Let them be themselves.
There's no cursing.
yeah. So
This
anyway,
isn't live, is it? Sorry.
So with the emotes, we did a lot of things related to. So if I'm going to call you, I'm going to wave like this. Whereas some cultures, they'll wave down like this because this is calling your dog or
Right.
something like that. So, and we did different takes on what's a wave like in this culture or that culture, and we also looked at things such as with the Knicks. We said, well, the Knicks spend a lot of time in EVA, so if someone is out in space and the distances that you're probably out at
It was EVA.
that extravehicular activity, I believe it
I'm good with that.
stands for.
That works.
Means I'm chilling out in space.
Right.
Floating in space. When I'm floating in space, I'm probably floating quite a distance away from somebody else. And there may not be a strong light source for me to be able to be seen very well. So all of the motions that the Knicks do in space are rather large motions, right? And what sort of things can we also do to sort of allow them to communicate from long distances? We also, in doing this, we looked at technology that the military has, and one of the really cool things is an infrared buzzsaw, and it's a light on a string, and you spin this, and if I'm looking at you doing this, at night, I don't really see anything. But if there's a chopper pilot overhead and he has his IR goggles on, he can see this light spinning, and he knows where the extraction point is. So we said, okay, well, maybe there's ways that they communicate. Maybe yes is this big circle in front of them, right? And if you see them from a distance, you may not be able to tell what they're doing. But if another Nix is seeing them, perhaps his helmet reads that motion and creates some sort of visual element, right? So we're looking into things like that
That's
as well.
great.
Yeah.
So what's your, I mean, you've seen almost every aspect of the game so far. What's your favorite component, and what's your favorite component to work that you're seeing slowly being developed?
Well, I'm really excited about the FPS. I'm really excited about the FPS because I'm an FPS guy.
I am too.
But some of the things that we're doing on the FPS side that I've been pushing into other projects that I've worked on with some amount of success, like especially with the player, the jukes and the jives and all that stuff like that. I'm really excited about that because that's going to really make the players not only look more realistic but feel more realistic, and it's also going to add this tactical requirement. So if I'm going to be moving out of cover and I'm going to try and get back into cover, I have to understand that if I'm going to be running out of cover this way and I'm going to cut back, that's going to take me time to do that, right? So, yeah, I think that's probably
I'm not Steve Bender, animation director of CIG.
And I'm not sure if I am either, but we'll see you next time around the verse.